this is Divine Sunshine coming to you with your channeled message. Today's channel's message is assembly required. I think about when I was a little girl, I used to play with Ken and Barbie dolls. I had the whole set. I was blessed to have two parents that, because my mom said, you got to stop telling the bad stuff. You got to tell the good stuff about you and your father. My father and I, we not bad people. And they're not at all. But I also have to try to tell you all, we have a tendency when we're on those twin flame journeys that we're also thinking that it's going to be love and roses, and there is a struggle sometimes that goes along with it. There's some challenges. There's some things you either got to learn from your partner, just learn from the outside, learn from society, learn from the world as well. So here's one of the good things of parents. So my parents always with them, like a reader had told me that I was created out of love. Both my parents, my mom, it's just so funny. She loved my dad so much. She asked permission. She's like, I want to have a baby. I want to have a baby with you. And my dad was like, okay, I'm willing to participate. So that's a beautiful thing because a lot of us, and I think about some of the kids that I've taught and with, some of them didn't even know that their parents had wanted them. I know from the jump from both of my parents that they wanted to really try to get full on that. But I know that both of my parents wanted me from the jump. And I know my dad's personality. If he didn't want to do it, he would tell us, Shirley, I ain't doing that. That's it. I don't want to have no kids. I already got enough kids as is. So that's the beautiful thing to know that I was wanted. And he agreed to create me. But also knowing that I was, my dad made sure that I had everything that I wanted and needed. I didn't want for anything. I think over the course, I think I told you all on this channel. I maybe no said maybe about 5 times, maybe on one hand, and it might be less than that. He said my dad ever told me no. So he said it really the precipice for every guy that came after that, as far as giving them material things. Other things, we talked about that on the show. But anyway, when it comes to that, most definitely. So I remember on Christmas, I had all of everything. There was Barbie, you name it, the whole line. I got the whole line. I had the Barbie doll cottage, Barbie doll Corvette, Barbie doll swimming pool, Barbie doll townhouse. Okay, he bringing it to me. What else did you get for me, Dad? The Barbie doll van, RV van, cooking set, food. He showed me all of it. The dogs. It was 2 dogs. They were Alpha something. That's the ones that got that real long hair dogs. And what else did he give me? He's showing me. He's like blip 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 blip. I just had all of it. I remember that. And I remember I came downstairs, my eyes was wide, and I was like, the best Christmas, everything I wanted. I had the white Barbies and the black Barbies. I had the Barbie babies and all that stuff like that. So I'm playing house like real hard, just creating my stuff. And I thank God for that, because again, when you're playing with your imagination, that helps you to also know that, I guess, with me, in some ways, I was creating a template as far as like when I growed up, that's what I wanted. Okay, I didn't get a townhouse, but I got the condo. I got a house. Those things, cars. I always went out there and know that because, again, the template that my parents had sent and did for me, I went on ahead, thank you, Father. And it is so, and that is truth. I had went on ahead and had, move out the way. Thank you for 1 second. You're right. It said my birthday, so I'm giving birth to something new with myself. It's 407. So, understanding that helped to enrich. I think about a lot of kids. I think about my kids today because they're so cute. We're getting towards the end, and they're getting so loving. They get to do that all the time. All of the time. That brings out a really annoyance, like they're saying about rich kids, how they don't know any other kind of aspect but that. Because they just know that it's always given to them. They could go out there and see it. They see their parents give the template. And some of the kids that I work with, they don't have that experience with that. And that's something that they had to grow into to say be resilient, and they can get that themselves down the line. but that helped me to really go out there and to create. I just never did know about like not having a house, like owning your own home, those things. What we're talking about is also going back to the Barbie dolls. So, I've always had played with my Barbie dolls, relationship wise and things like that. And I thought about the different Barbies I had. I had one that was a copper Barbie. She was black and she had streaks of copper running through her hair. And that made me think that I wanted, when I grow up, I said, well, I'm going to have color in my hair when I grow up. Okay, well, that happened. I had another white Barbie. She had gold streaks. It was really metallic gold that ran through her. And she had her Barbie, it had her Ken too. So I had my Ken. Mine was named Brad. I think that's what his name was. The black one was Brad. And then you had the other one was Ken, that one. And so, yeah, I named them Brad and Kiera. That was the two black ones, Brad and Kiera. So, I was thinking about me and myself at the DM, and I was like, we really are a perfect match, because I match him. He's thick, I'm thick. And I said, well, we're like cute little Barbie and Barbie and Ken dolls, but, just the thick version. So it got me to thinking it's about, okay, if you're thinking about physically, then again, and how we as our twin flames and our partners or soulmates of whomever that's love, people who are on this love journey is attracted to this, because I've opened up the scope wide. Spirit has told me that it's not just twin flames, that eventually we're going to kind of open it up that everybody will be divine, so whichever way it goes. And then also understanding that with that, how we are really just really perfectly matched for each other, not only just about physically but even internally. Now what makes us kind of fall off the rails, and as I'm showing here, is that it's got to be assembly required. Some of us is thinking that sometimes you get like different kind of materials and things like that, and you think, I know, like toothbrushes, and they already have the battery already in it, so you can just use it and be go. Like, dang, thank you. I got another thing. I went and bought one of them ear things, and I'm trying for the Dickens to kind of get a battery. It needs a battery in it. I thought when I got it, I said, oh, thank God, it's probably already got a battery. I could just use it so I can be able to clean my ear. And I'm Dickens' time to open up that thing so I can put the battery in, so I can be able to use it. Some of these we have to remember with our twin flames, and this is where patience comes in. At they required assembly required. And this is why we have separation. This is why we have times in which they go off, and they go work on themselves. Spirit works on them, whether in those karmic situations or those dojo situations, karmic situations, which they heard and learning the hard lessons. Some of them ask for it to be real soft, and some of them, like I say, like Proud Mary, we're gonna start it off rough, and then we're gonna start off easy, and then we're gonna get rough. Some of them need that Proud Mary there, because that's the way they're going to learn the lessons. And they're going to learn it well. I've told you before on this show, a lot of times when you have teachers, those hard teachers, you remember not to do whatever you did over again, or you studied for the test so you could pass, so you didn't want to have them over again. That's why sometimes those hard lessons actually work. When we're talking about as far as the easy, it depends on the person. But we have to also remember, and I'm noticing a trend when I'm talking to people, that I don't think we talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk. We say things like we understand they got to go through the things and the trials and tribulations and the tower moments, but some kind of way we still doing that cosmetic clean, cosmetic acceptance of it, and we're not getting really down to the root of it and understanding that daggone, when we say it's unconditional love, we mean it's unconditional love all the way through it. And some of us are still not doing the work. We think we're doing the work, but we're not getting deep enough. And we got to understand that really the way in the things in which you are holding on, and ideologies and concepts that you say, well, it works for me, it's worked for the past, is not going to be working now. I've said it. I've said it nicely. I said it roughly. I've said it all different kinds of ways, and I'm going to keep on repeating that. I mean, this twin flame journey is a radical change that is asking for you to do. And again, it's requiring some new assembly. Some parts got to be taken away. Some things has got to be added through our experiences, through spirit as well. And some of us is not in the position of accepting what's really required of us to have that assembly required. That's why I say required of us to do that. We're saying it, but we're not walking the walk. And I know it's hard. It's very hard. This is very radical. Some of us, as they had before I got on here, the thing Spirit had told to me, we're really scared to be really, truly vulnerable. Vulnerable means we're at the point that we might even feel like we might be taken advantage of while we're practicing unconditional love. People who do practice unconditional love, most people from the 3D world concept or ideology feel as if they are being taken advantage of. Feel that that person act that way and they forgave you and they did X, Y, Z. Oh hell nah, ain't gonna be no stepping stone, nobody's rug. You step over for me to do that. But at the same time, that's unconditional love. That person, you ask them about what's going on, and it's like, okay, it didn't bother me because I knew who I am and what space I'm in. That's them. Let the universe handle them. That's why they say about 70 times 7. Now, yes, again, we talk about boundaries, but you know what? I'm going to throw this at some of you all, too, that when you talk about these boundaries, you got to watch it, too. Where is it coming from? Where is the boundaries coming from? Is it coming from a place of ego? This is again is a new twin flame journey, is a new way of loving. It's accepting the person for where they are. Understanding that they're going through their growth. However, when you feel at times that you're being violated or they're being misusing you or they're not showing you respect in the way that you feel at that moment, if you've really had checked it out and seen that you're not answering what's going on to them from a wounded place, not from a place of childhood wounds, something that's saying you want control of the situation, then you understand that, okay, fine, you can do that from that place. However, some of us still need to do a reality check to see as far as where are we as far as our actions and what we're doing. I still say this. It's unconditional love, and it's going to be a different way of doing it because it's a new way of being vulnerable. And of course, ego is going to come in and protect you and say all different kind of stuff that's going to allow you to seem as if, oh my God, you being a stepping stool, he's stepping all over you or she's stepping all over you in the process. You've got to, I still say this, you've got to do it without worrying about the results in mind. It's hard. It's hard for me. I understand that. But again, it gives you peace of mind. Do you feel in your heart is your guide? They say, let your heart be your guide. If you can do things and don't care about the results of it, then do it. But if you can do it and you're scared about the results and I say, hell no, don't do it. Don't do it. But sometimes some of you all has got to get that extra push to say to go on because you're overguarding yourself and you're doing it because of ego, because you're scared of what is it. If I do this, I'm not going to get this in return. If I do this, then I'm not going to do it. But if Spirit has guided you in some way in your heart space, saying, I ought to do it, then you go ahead and do it. I told you about the time that I just said out of the blue, I hadn't heard from my divine master, but I had felt I had done that before. Where I just sent him lunch. I was like, okay, this don't have nothing to do with me. My thing is, Spirit said that I needed to feed you. I did my job. I feel good about it. Now, what's the result of it? If you say thank you, you don't, that's on you. But I feel good because Spirit told me and I obeyed. Not attached to results, not attached to the ending point on that. So again, in order for us to have assembly required, we have to live in our integrity and in our truth in everything that we do. If that's my truth, that I want to take care of him at that point, then that's me standing in my truth. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing with fidelity and integrity. I'm not caring about the consequences of it or whatever it is, that as long as I'm not killing nobody, stabbing nobody in the process. That's my main concern for that. So my thing is that, again, this is not for the faint of heart. You signed up because you're saying I can do something radical, change things. You know, and you think about, again, like Dr. Martin Luther King and all these other change makers and things of that nature, you know, that you have to be changed. I think more so like Malcolm X. Malcolm X is more of he came out the box one way. And by the time he at the end, he came a whole totally different way. As far as being understand, he was before it was like power to the people, to his people. And then by the end, he went over to Mecca, which he had that spiritual awakening, and he's like, no, it's for everybody. It's not just power to my people. It's everybody that's experiencing injustice. And sometimes you might have that moment. That was, again, assembly required. He had to go over there to get change that battery out. It's like Spirit said, you got the wrong battery in. You on triple A, you supposed to be on double A. That ain't the battery we want you to operate off of. And that's what they really bring to me, is like, again, while we're in these situations, we have to learn how to be able to change the battery. The assembly is required. We got to put the things together and the parts together. Put that battery that's actually need to be in use, and stop using the wrong one that's not really the one that actually fits in there. You know, you can still have the same battery, you know that, but they say if they want an alkaline battery, you can't get one of them cheap ones that's a generic one if it ain't alkaline. It could go in there, it's going to run for a little while, and then it's going to break down. And that's the same thing. Some of them might be using the karmic situations, third-party situations. Is that battery that's not really the truly alkaline battery that they're asking for, like a Duracell or whatever, or Energizer one. And, you know, it says it's going to work, but it's going to break down, because that's not really the true battery you're supposed to. We say alkaline, that's going to only last for a day. It's not going to run like it, keep going and going and going, as they said. So we have to remember, again, as light workers, in order for us to be able to change other people's minds, we've got to learn the new lingo. And we've got to learn the new template. And we've got to become masters of that before we can be able to showcase that to others. I told you all in July is about freedom. Freedom of expression. Freedom of communicating. Freedom of finding yourself just being free and expressing who you are as a light worker. Some of these things that's happening here now is pushing you to express that. I know I have been more vocal. I know even with my mom, when I was raising up, she always said I had that mouth, and she tried to curtail it so I would not express it to a point. She's like, that's not what I meant. You know, you took it to the extreme. So now I'm finding my voice. And she said, that's not what I meant. And Mama says I could talk now. So now I am talking. It's no more pretending I agree with you and I know that I don't. And so we are now kind of finding that freedom in everywhere way that we are. Some of finding freedom was putting those boundaries up, say I can't stand it. That's again what that duality and that new energies is brought by the Gemini moon, Sagittarius moon and Gemini, and all these other Pluto and Jupiter and Juno and all that stuff that's acting, Neptune that's acting up. It's like get rid of the stuff that no longer serves you, so you could truly express yourself, so that it is assembly required. Putting you back together again to really be the truest form of a light worker and a twin flame or a soulmate or a person who is truly on this love journey that you had accepted before birth, that you say, I don't remember doing it, but your soul, your heart remembers that. So that's all that I wanted to come on here. They just brought me a channel message about assembly required. And we have to remember in all of these, this is what these experiences are bringing us. They help us to understand that we have to assemble ourselves. to to redo, reparts, take apart. Again, spirit's taking you apart so you can be put back together in the right way. Because I had put some things together and I'm like, damn, this look good, it's balanced, this shelf look balanced to me. And when I look, I say, that piece wasn't right. That you know, you put them shelving in and you say, Dad, the under part right there was really supposed to go down, and you part of you say, Dad, it's in there really good though. I don't want to take this thing back apart no more. Oh Jesus. They like, but it don't look right. Everybody got white shells on top, and the one in the middle got. I remember one time I had that wood part going up, and I say, okay, now you know your OCD gonna check in, and that's not gonna work. You gotta take this sucker apart. I said, I'd be damn. Oh God! So I had to take all the screws and the nuts and bolts back together again, and I said I got to do it right. And that's the same thing that we do. And some of us has thought we had put the assembly back or put it up right, and that shelving is not right. It's going, that one shelf there is going to stick out like a sore thumb. It looks good, but you know, you can hide things on the shelf, but that's not it. And that's what the karmic situation, third party situation, and just in life in general brings to our attention. All right, then, as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, namago. Love you.